Yep, no, everything's recorded. We can see that we actually have a huge volume profile gap from yesterday because Microsoft had a earnings call yesterday and we got this massive 4 p.m. pump here essentially above the previous day's high. Now we have SMT divergence at those highs between ES and NQ. Can see that NQ failed to take out yesterday's high. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame. I also want to put it out there that I'm going to be from now trading a take profit trader account because they have an awesome promotion going on right now where you get 40% off. So a 50k account costs you $103 without activation fees once you get funded. And the cool thing with take profit trader is that you can withdraw from day one daily. So every day you make profit, you can withdraw those profits. Of course, there's the trailing threshold and stuff like that, but it's still much better than having to wait a couple of weeks before you can request your payout. If you don't believe me, just ask Agent Smith and he can sign that off. No maximum withdrawal limit and also no scaling plan. No activation fee. It's pretty good. It's cheaper than Apex if you think about it. But that's enough about that. I've got one of those 50k accounts ready to use on live streams. Let's see what's happening. We pushed lower. That's nice. It's 9:15. Go to the 5-minute. Okay, New York just opened up. We nicely managed to get a close in below the current low of day right here. Managed to close below right here. We also had a inversion fair value gap. After we took out buy side liquidity, let the indicator load up. So since I'm still in that short, like I said, I entered short right here on the VWAP, anticipating this inversion fair value gap towards support, especially backed with the SMT divergence. Now we swept that low, immediately pushed back in. Now we managed to push back below it. I want to see this low being respected. I don't want to see another push up higher. I first want to see that continuation essentially into, like we said earlier, this volume profile, yesterday's volumes profile inefficiency, which should come in right around here to fill that in. So really, if we were to drop, yesterday's buyers would start to well protect their positions right around this area. Above here, there's no reason why anyone would jump in and protect it because no one really bought at those prices. We just shot right up within within 2 or 3 minutes due to the Microsoft earnings. So if we were to get back into this area, no one would step in and say, hey, I don't want prices any lower than that, if that makes sense. Right, yeah, that's that volume profile. Oh shit. Sorry guys, I've been talking and talking. So yeah, essentially, shit, didn't I share my screen for the entire time? Damn. Well, alright, so what I've been talking about is the SMT divergence between ES and NQ. ES having cleared the previous day's high, NQ didn't do so. And mainly my focus is on this volume imbalance. Right here in the volume profile, we see a high volume node right up here, and the majority of the volume actually down here at yesterday's low, and then somewhere around the 50% level. And my idea is that buyers are not going to step in within this overall range because, yeah, well, from here, price just pushed up higher due to the Microsoft earnings call. And if buyers were to step in, if we continue to drop now, I think I would assume they would start to protect their longs from yesterday, maybe pre-earnings, right around this area. So I just want to see price cut through this. That's the narrative for this morning, at least my narrative. We're on the 5-minute time frame. Got a nice close below the low of the day and already retested it. We have the SMT divergence. We retested the VWAP already with a nice bearish inversion fair value gap, bullish fair value gap. We close below, we come back to retest it and recheck from here. I took an entry right here. So I saw the bullish fair value gap. We closed below the bullish fair value gap. So I went long on the bullish, short on that inversion fair value gap. I'm still in the short. My stop loss actually was, I think, right up here, if I'm not completely wrong. Let me actually see. Yeah. Let's see how it plays out. My stop's protected at break even. If we were to come all the way back up, then so be it. Don't really mind. What I wouldn't like to see here now on the 1 minute time frame is price to push above this bearish fair value gap right here. If I see that, well, it would be some sort of confirmation that we are about to continue higher and confirmation for me to exit my position. We don't have anything on the 5 minute time frame that we could base our analysis from. No fair value gaps, no recent fair value gaps. Same thing goes for NQ. NQ is actually pushing a lot harder and I'm just going to take my profits home. I'm not playing around with it at all. Cannot be bothered. Especially seeing NQ not having cleared the previous day's high. Formed a lower low and now look at the momentum right here. It's still 9:30, still the opening, 5 minute candle. Almost back to the VWAP. And I don't want to, get stopped out at break even, obviously. We closed above. I'm logged into my TraderWeight account on this window right there. Not sure which one I want to be trading. I think I'm gonna, let's see if I can log in on both windows here. No, I can't. That sucks. So I have to switch. Come on. Let's go long with one contract right here on this inversion fair value gap. We're gonna protect our position right here at this low. Oh, that's actually a pretty big range. Let's see, I think we're gonna manage this one manually. Entry right here, 5 points. Ooh. Yeah, honestly, just looking for 5 points here. Be content with that. So let's put NQ over here to see what NQ is doing. What NQ is up to. We can see NQ already cleared that buy side liquidity. Just being, careful with the opening. Don't like. I already gave away some profits because this morning I took a short right here during the London session. Right here on this consolidation. I was up in nice profit zone here, but I wanted to see lower prices. So I closed it right here on this candle. Still in good profits, but yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Should have listened to Bongo. But yeah, you get the idea. So I don't want to watch price going back to my break even, especially right at the New York opening level. Might be completely wrong about it, and it now would have hit my take profit target. We will see. I'm going to be trading with the Take Profit Trader 50k challenge. I've got one today for 40% off. And actually, I also don't have to pay a activation fee. So the entire challenge is a lot cheaper than your regular Apex challenge with your $150 activation fee. That's pretty cool. And yeah, you can also withdraw profits from day one. So once you actually move or progress to your funded account, you can request a withdrawal on the first day. You can request daily withdrawals. That's not an issue at all. And it's just, yeah, much better compared to all the other futures funding firms out there with all those stupid payout rules and whatnot. So yeah, I always have been an advocate. I got stopped long. We got into the gap after all. Which gap exactly? You mean this gap down here? And done. We just made 250 bucks. Quick 5 points. No stress, no dramas. And by now, guess what? I would have gotten stopped out at break even, and now I just, yeah, secured some profits. One tiny little trade, right? One tiny one. But yeah, obviously, if we continue higher from here, that might be the low of that overall retracement. We'll see. NQ is leading the way, already having cleared all these lower highs. Should have actually just secured a 2-to-1, but this funding pips account is coming along nicely, up 5% now. 3% more to go. But I don't think that's anything I want to worry about today. It's Friday. Friday is less about capital generation for me than it's about preservation. Once again, we tapped the VWAP and our 5-minute inversion fair value gap, and we rejected massively from here. So that just goes to show, of course, we could have kept on holding on to this little trade for longer and maybe secured 8 points, 7 points, but if 5 points are made available and the VWAP offers a nice confluence, I take that every day. With a nice inversion fair value gap setup coming from the low of the day, quick 1-to-1 risk to reward. Quick and easy 5 points. This potentially, looking at it on the 5-minute time frame. Do we have any news later on today? Let me check here quickly. 10 a.m. consumer sentiment, but it's just consumer sentiment. So the short I took this morning during the London session, I also shared that inside the London tapering chat on Discord, essentially was 15-minute time frame. Yeah, after a while I started to focus more on the 15-minute time frame because, yeah, the 5-minute time frame, we had bearish fair value gaps. Essentially, I entered short of this bearish fair value gap or just around the VWAP right here. After the market structure shift confirmed on the 15, as we can see, we had a nice move to the upside. Higher lows, higher highs, higher high, and then actually we had our market structure shift here. but I looked at this low, had our bearish fair value gap, retested the VWAP, had the midnight level above us, so really nice. Entered at the 50%. And my target, hang on, let me get rid of these volume lines, was a little bit lower because, well, Asia sell side obviously, but in terms of risk to reward, with my stop loss at this high, just looking for pretty simple trade. I wanted to see a little bit more than a 1-to-1, especially knowing that there's nothing in terms of sell side liquidity all the way down till here, just playing space essentially. So yeah, I took the trade. I wanted to see my 3-to-1 being hit right here, this area. Didn't happen, so I let the trade run a little bit. And then once again, when did it start turning around? At the 30-minute mark. Consolidated, I still had high hopes that we might continue lower and my take profit target gets hit. I pass phase 1, all that stuff. Then I saw the sweep right here at 6.55. Immediate continuation higher paired with a volume imbalance, and that's essentially when I closed my trade right here. So at a 0.73% risk to reward ratio. Not the worst, of course, could have been better. Could have almost been a 1.5 risk to reward. Had hungry eyes this morning, but at least those hungry eyes didn't end up with me losing. All right, let's get back to our 1-minute time frame here and see if we can scalp a little bit with our new TraderWeight account. Can see that fair value gaps, bullish fair value gaps, are still being respected nicely. This is our 5-minute. Let's label this as 5-minute inversion fair value gap. We have buy side obviously above here. We have our inversion fair value gap. We retested the inversion and secured our first 5 points here towards the VWAP. Yeah, hungry eyes. Sometimes, yeah, it is what it is. It's hard to not be hungry, but yeah, I don't know. It got me this morning. I thought, well, I waited my chances. Like securing a 1-to-1, yeah, that would be pretty conservative. I could just let it run and close manually and still close it in profits. That was my kind of thinking. But I would just, be a little bit more annoyed at myself if I wouldn't have held this trade and it would have hit the take profit and it would have simply just dunked into here, filling in this entire inefficiency. So yeah, I don't know. I waited it. It's dangerous when you want. Let me see. Yeah, it's the most dangerous thing there is actually. That's, I think that contributes to at least 50% of the failed challenges. Hungry eyes. Already seeing, oh, 1 more trade or 3 more trades until phase 1 is done. Ooh. And then the same thing happens with phase 2 and ooh. Yeah, it's definitely a dangerous game. Because you get greedy. This seems to be a nice low formation. That's what I have been afraid of, being in the short from right over here. Looking essentially, for everything below 5100 to be hit. We open up at night. Well, we consolidated here first. Sort of a bearish flag pattern. Continued lower. Came back to retest the fair value gap. Formed a new lower low. And then we invalidated the bullish fair value gap. Remember, that's when I closed my short from over here. Because it didn't look very great. Why would we invert this fair value gap after being in bearish order flow with the bearish flag pattern, continuing lower, having already filled in this inefficiency after followed by forming a new lower low. And now New York opens up, delivers us this new lower low, but immediately pulls back, closing above here. And that essentially could be considered the change in state of delivery. That's when I close the short with nice profits, decent profits. Profit is profit. And well, then with the new trader weight, take profit trader account, we engaged on long on this inversion fair value gap following that order flow idea. Immediately played out. But right now we're still getting rejected from our 5-minute inversion fair value gap. Right here. Once we manage to get above that and above the VWAP, I think we could continue higher. Let's take a look at NQ. NQ still has the previous day's high target to hit. Let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame and see what we're working with. Actually, let's go to the daily time frame. On a daily, we see that we have retested Wednesday's down closing candle. So we tested that low. If we are in an uptrend, remember, we look for support on down closing candles. And that's exactly what we would be banking on here if we were to target this bearish fair value gap. We cleared all the liquidity. That's all done. All the sell side has been taken. We actually ended up holding nice support on the lowest bullish fair value gap here. We closed below it, but we immediately get back up inside of it. Closed back above it. Came back to retest right here on Tuesday morning. Bounced off the 50% and continued higher. Had a nice bullish fair value gap right here as well. You can see that we had the new day opening gap. Opened right up at the low of the daily bullish fair value gap. Came back to retest. Fill in the daily volume imbalance. And we pushed up higher yesterday. So at this point in time, I think it would be too early on the daily time frame to call this in the very short term bearish order flow. I know right now from our all-time high paired with SMT divergence right here, we're still in a downtrend, but we just essentially stop hunted all these lows. So what we would be looking for here would theoretically be the breaker block down here, the lowest down closing candle. This would be our breaker block because right here we formed our high, low, higher high with bits of seek and destroy, but this is our institutional swing point right here. Lowest low before we formed a new higher high. So I'm looking at this at the daily market structure shift. Bearish. Top center, SMT divergence, bearish market structure shift. And now we're starting to retrace into our daily bearish fair value gap right here. We actually already hit another bearish fair value gap right here. We closed above that. So theoretically that would be considered a inversion fair value gap. We came back to retest. Down closing candle, bounced off from here. And now, essentially we're looking forward to see if we can push up any higher. That's higher time frame on NQ essentially. Put all of that into a folder, call it daily. I don't know how I did my analysis, to be really honest. before I found out that you can, how to really use the object tree here on TradingView. I really don't know how I've done that, or yeah, how I could have even traded. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, first of all, hide the ICT. Clean view on charts and tidy everything up from our daily time frame, because Matt has hectic OCD. At least when it comes to charting, everything needs to be clean. One second, guys. Ja, alles gut. So. All right, I'm back. So OCD is satisfied. 4-hour time frame with everything we've got going on the daily. Let's hide the daily stuff here for a second. Just quickly check what. Oh, we are pumping. Well, essentially just like we would have anticipated. Bullish order flow, we hold support on the initial inversion fair value gap, followed by the next bullish fair value gap. Ever since, we didn't really leave behind any bullish fair value gaps. Ever since right here, we had 10 a.m. news very likely, now 9:50. 10 a.m. news coming in right here. No, not news, but we managed to close back above the midnight level with the stashed line. Left behind a nice bullish fair value gap paired with that midnight level. So this could have been continuation entry, but I've been focused on for a quick 5 points. 5-point stop, 5-point take profit target. That would have been a nice scalp. Damn. Anyway, the only thing I wanted to say that I think we could easily continue higher. We filled in a healthy part of this inefficiency. Monday, Sunday, that's our current weekly volume profile. Retest the volume point of control here. Pushing up higher. Currently, well, we still have SMT divergence between ES and NQ, because ES already cleared this high, NQ did not. So I'm just going to plot a couple of 4-hour fair value gaps here. Closest ones. Fair value gap. Bum. Buy side liquidity. That's essentially all we need here from the higher time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, after indecision at 8, seems like we're pushing. We have 4 minutes left on this hourly candle. Turn on the ICT all-in-one again. Previous day's high is likely going to be the target. No proper setup the way we usually do it with fair value gaps here on the 5-minute time frame. Let's zoom in on the 1-minute time frame. Well, inversion fair value gap. We never came back to revisit it. Market structure shift, bullish fair value gap. Well, I'd say your best entry would have been also just right here at the midnight level. The one that we just discussed. Here on ES, 5 points. Those are, never forget how much money 5 points is. If you trade minis, $250. That's, yeah, pretty good daily salary with one single account without taking on much risk in terms of your entire account size. Of course, it feels nice to hit home runs and go along here and take profit right up above this high, but I don't know. The chances of you hitting those home runs every day is much, much, much lower than the chances of you scalping 5 points. high conviction, high probability 5 points. Not sitting in here and saying, oh, well, we're consolidating. Let's bet on if it's going higher or lower. And let's say I'm going long. I'm just looking for 5 points with a stop loss of 5 points. There's no context with it. That's just completely stupid. But if we really have the narrative, okay, we're coming off the low of the day. We essentially shifted market structure here on 1 minute time frame. We're not looking for the skies, or we're not trying to reach for the skies. All we're trying to do is look for a nice 5 point scalp. Okay, we have the inversion fair value gap. Risk to reward on this one, a little bit off, not gonna lie. Where did we get in with a market order right up in here? Is that correct? One tick lower. So right here, so 5 point stop loss would have meant that essentially our stop loss is inside a bullish fair value gap. I don't really like that, so the stop loss really should have been here, just to play it safe and not unnecessarily get stopped out. And then a 1-to-1 would have still been hit right here. But I essentially just anticipated for ES to follow NQ. NQ at this point in time was already at these levels right here above these highs. So I didn't expect a deep retracement. Playing the inversion fair value gap. 5 point stop. 5 point target right at the VWAP. Over and done with. And we could have done the same thing. Right here we leave behind the bullish fair value gap. We have our 5 point stop. We could have also put in a stop below this low, but why? This would have taken a lot more of a strong gut feeling. Not gut feeling, but a strong gut to, well, hold on to the trade right here. But as long as we don't close below the bullish fair value gap, we're chilling. Continued higher, would have hit our 5 point target relatively quick. So that would be the second 5 point scalp. Then we get a new opportunity, midnight level, paired with a bullish fair value gap for another 5 points. So that's 15 points, relatively low risk. Of course, you could have achieved the same simply by entering on the inversion fair value gap and holding for the entire 15 points. But yeah, I don't know. It's an emotional roller coaster holding 15 points. And it depends, what you're out for, what your plan is. Daily storyline in my mind, otherwise it would be a great trade. Tell us a story. What story do you have in mind? We will hit the daily fair value gap for 10 a.m. news. 10 a.m. news already happened. Not much impact. Not even a sweep, just left behind equal lows. Alright, 10 a.m. we closed. Oh, look at that. See what we've done right here. We closed. It's all good, Bongo. Don't worry. We have a bearish fair value gap on the hourly. We closed above it. And on this new 11 a.m. candle, 10 a.m. sorry, SilverBullet candle, we just retested that entire inversion fair value gap. So if I drag this out in a rectangle, put it in a box, see that? That's our hourly fair value gap all the way from over here. Hourly closed above, quickly at 10 a.m. came back to retest that inversion fair value gap and formed a new higher high. Take a look at the 5-minute time frame if we see something interesting. But I think eventually NQ is destined to go to the previous day's high, but bullish fair value gap right here. That's the 4-hour, if I'm not completely wrong. Yeah, 4-hour bearish fair value gap right here. Let's see what we have on the 1-hour. 1-hour bearish fair value gap, essentially inside of that. We're looking for buy side right up here. On NQ, we haven't left behind a single bullish fair value gap. Ever since we opened up today, we opened up right here. Ever since, no bullish fair value gap on the hourly time frame. So here, at least on NQ, on the hourly time frame, everything has rather fairly been priced in. We retraced to the daily potential mitigation block, rejected from here. On a 4-hour time frame, we had a nice 4-hour bullish engulfing coming out of this bullish fair value gap. And we could have also looked at, well, I don't know, your classical charting patterns, not charting patterns, but overall support resistance. Something happened around those prices, consolidated, went sideways for a little bit here, pulled back, continued lower, came all the way back to retest this area, rejected, came back into this area, rejected. Now we closed above this area, we come back to retest it, continue higher. So this would be a typical support resistance. If we drag that out over to the left, we can see that this area has been respected before. Now that we pushed back above it, we could anticipate support there. No real magic. So let's see. Previous day's high is in the crosshair. Also keep in mind it's Friday. How did everyone do so far this week? Are you did you make lots of profits? Are you at break even? Are you in a little bit of a drawdown? And then the most important question is, do you feel like risking, well, more than you have already risked this week? Well, unless there's a A++ opportunity, I don't think I will be risking anymore. Market also seems a little bit choppy and, well, messed up. Yeah, take profit going well. Nice. What account size did you get, Agent Smith? $100K. Nice. Now I got the 50K over here just because, yeah, the rules. I put my account to break even. Yeah, fair enough. 150K. So you got the 150K. Yeah, fair enough. Just makes more sense for me personally. I want to have a healthy drawdown to overall profit target ratio. And the 50K account really is the best option that futures have to offer. Yeah, and this time with Take Profit Trader, like we already talked about, you don't have to wait 10 days, have any consistency rules once you're funded. You can essentially make $1,000 profit on the first day on your funded account, and you can withdraw that immediately without a maximum withdrawal limit and without a scaling plan. So if you compare that to Apex, Apex just sucks. I know Apex is cheap to get, well, I don't know, to get into futures, you pay $10 for a 50k challenge or maybe more, I don't know. And then you pass it, and then you have to pay the $100 and above $150 activation fee. With Take Profit Trader at the moment, you can, well, save the activation fee and have 40% off. And then I paid for the 50k account, I paid $103 USD. And you can, yeah, simply use the code AZTRADING if you want to support me. If not, that's also okay. Yeah, H. Smith, literally. No one cares about it anymore. We all just want to see you milk those prop firms. Oh man, it hurts so much. I mean, that even hurts me. And I wasn't the one trading the account. 32k in profit, not having withdrawn a single dollar, and then losing it. Ah. That hurts more than, well, I don't know. Bullish fair value gap still holding up, 10.05. Same fair value gap here on the S&P. Well, let's follow along. As we can see, we retested this hourly inversion fair value gap 3 times already. This is the hourly inversion, also lined up nicely with the midnight level. Now that we're back above it. Couldn't take a payout, I'm on disability. I would have to claim that as income, so now I literally don't have any income or income potential. Well, just put me on that bill. I don't mind. Or put it on your mom. Say your mom traded all that stuff. Okay, 10.99 in your name. Well, fair enough. Well, next time put it on your mom. About to hit the previous day's high. 1 minute time frame, nice sweep here. Yeah, fair enough. So let's see. We have our 1 hour inversion fair value gap. We bounced off it 3 times. This would be our buy side target. Not really interested in, well, volume imbalance entry, but it's been a very long, no, not very long time, but pretty long time that I have traded volume imbalances on a trade away challenge. Really have to get used to it. Been focusing a lot on funding pips accounts. Been doing pretty well with them. All right, we hit the previous day's high. Where is it? There, right here. Also a nice midnight level rejection right here. Boom. Paired with a nice bullish fair value gap. almost caught the low of the day. No, well, essentially the low of the day, all the way back to the high of the day, 26 points. Well, man, it's got greedy eyes again. Interesting trading day for sure. How did you guys do today so far? H. Smith shared his profits. I also made some profits on my funding pips account, 1%. Yeah, 1%. Something around that. Yeah, 1%. And 0.5, correct? Yeah, 0.5% on this newly bought Take Profit Trader Challenge. So let's see how it goes. Most of the times, well, not most of the times, every time, if it's Friday, I'm not looking to take super risky setups. I'm more of a fan to play it conservative. If I have my winner, I'm pretty much content with the trading day. If it's more than 1% or more than 0.5%, really. Fridays are typically dangerous for you to, well, I don't want to use gamble away all your profits, but most of the times that's what happens if you, well, overtrade, over leverage and that stuff on Fridays. So yeah, Fridays are usually the days for me where I play it cool, especially on NFP Fridays. I tend to skip out on those overall and just, yeah, secure the profits I've made throughout the week. But, well, I can tell you from experience, and maybe some other people watching the stream as well, having put in so much work throughout the entire week, putting your account in profit, and then giving it all away on one single day, especially on a Friday, and then heading into the weekend with that feeling, knowing that you just essentially, well, hit the delete button on all the time you've spent working for the profit on that account. Well, it's a bummer. Doesn't feel nice. And then usually you don't stop there, especially if you have more accounts. What happens is, okay, you messed up your one account because, well, you over leveraged, you over traded, you risked too much, and all that stuff. And then what happened to me before is that I took out the revenge on another account that I haven't even touched on that same trading day. And trust me, it doesn't go well. You should just close the charts and enjoy the weekend. Don't wanna, yeah. How long did that cycle last for you? Well, I would say that's a never-ending story. It's not something that changes magically when you're waking up one morning and it's like, whoa, hey, I'm not doing that anymore. You know what I mean? It's you as a person essentially have to change, or it's normal for human beings to act in that way. Everyone else would act that way, and as traders, we're essentially going against we have to learn to control our human urges and emotions, such as revenge or fear, or yeah, revenge and fear. And yeah, there's no switch that you can flip and it's gone forever. It's with you for the rest of your journey. Question is, can you control yourself or not? There's no end to this. If you are waiting for it and you blow count after account and you're just hoping for this to eventually make click, that's never gonna happen. Because in the end, you're the one responsible for not making it click. You're the one responsible for over leveraging, over trading, for acting emotional and going long, short, long, short, long, short or who can't control himself after a losing trade. And that's never gonna change unless you change. Easier said than done, I know, trust me. It's a process. I think the best way to start is actually setting up goals. Don't worry too much about where you are on your challenge or on your funded account. Set your targets, 2 to 1 targets, or simply 5 points, how much dollars you want to make per day. But then also don't get too attached to it, because on some days it simply means you're gonna lose money. And yeah, most people can't take that, or most traders can't take that. Their plan is $250 a day, and now they've lost 250 because they risk 250 to make 250. They lose control. They lose the shit, and they don't stop. Because their goal and their only mission for that trading day is to make $250. So yeah, I don't know, setting realistic goals, accepting losing days, and accepting losing days where you just lost a little bit. If you want to keep on trading within that same trading day where you've lost, or where you, I don't know, let's say you take max 1 or 2 trades per day. You close the second one at break even, so you're down, let's say 0.5%. But you have a feeling that you can do better during the New York session. Well, the most important thing, in my opinion, is that you actually take a break. If you've just taken a loss and you keep on going and going and going, it's easier to pull the plug after your first or second loss when you actually hit your, well, whatever you set as your own maximum drawdown for a specific trading day, than pulling the plug after you already messed it up. After you've taken another loss, maybe a little winner, you closed too early and now you're jumping in again. Maybe if you sit in a Lambo, you're done for that day. Yeah, maybe. That could be because you just don't care at this point, you know what I mean? Most important, I think the most deciding factor actually is that you care about your account. You rely on your account. It's your potential source of income, you know? That's the thing. You know, okay, oh, damn, tomorrow I'm gonna be funded, or today I can pass phase 1. That's what got me earlier this morning during the London session. It's a never-ending story. It's crazy. But it's definitely possible. It's just ourselves that mess it up. I don't know about you, but if your friends, for example, ask you about, well, is trading simple, blah, blah, blah. Theoretically, it is. I mean, everyone could take a trade like this, but to stop afterwards, or even after a loss to stop afterwards, that's really where the skill comes in my opinion. If someone asks me what I do, well, I draw lines on a chart with candlesticks and I trade based on that. Like, oh, it's super simple, blah, blah, blah. Don't even go down that explaining all the emotions and shit like that. Because it really shouldn't be an obstacle, if we're being honest. What's happening here? We cleared the previous day's high inside the 4-hour fair value gap. Not really interested in longing this anymore. We caught the low of the day here on ES, on stream. We've been on the short from the VWAP here. Of course, there's more buy side to target, but well, I'm pretty content with this week and the trading day overall. Not sure about you. If anything, the second opportunity that I would have taken would have been right here, but I've been busy doing higher time frame analysis on NQ. Pretty stupid, but it is what it is. This would have been a nice 5-point scalp, just like this. Yeah, and we just, exactly, Fady, we just make it too complicated in the end of the day. All price can do is go up and down. It usually has a trend. So I'm not, maybe you do sports betting and stuff like that. I'm certainly going to do it for the European Championship in soccer because it's fun. But every time I do it, I'm like, damn, that shit sucks. Of course, you have your odds, especially with soccer and sports. With soccer, it changed a little bit, if you ask me. There are no safe bets anymore. Sometimes you have your all-time champion team playing against total noobs, and yet the noobs win. It's messed up. Essentially, you're betting on something without a trend. And here you have the opportunity to bet on something that has a trend. You just need to figure out what the trend is and make friends with the trend or be friends with the trend. We figured it out right here. Boom, $250. Of course, we could have kept on holding, but you never know. We could have also dunked from here and head low into this huge inefficiency below us. Then I think the most important job is, or part is, to be content with enough and don't have the greedy eyes. Especially if you're trading or scalping on a 1 or 5 minute time frame. One issue that I sometimes face is I have eyes of a swing trader, long-term trader, looking for yearly highs, monthly, week highs. Oh yeah, I'm getting my entry down here, and then it potentially can rub all this way. Yet I'm taking my entry from essentially the lowest time frames available, disregarding everything below the 1 minute time frame. So I have, most of the time I have the patience and discipline of a scalper, looking for 5 points, 10 points, and doing that over and over consistently again. But the eyes of a swing trader, essentially. Like, oh, I could get in here, and then let's go to 1 hour time frame. What buy side could I be targeting? You know what I mean? Of course, sometimes it works, but then it's just, you shouldn't start from the lower time frame, take your entry, and then land on the higher time frame to look for your take profit target. You can still do that, but you would do it the other way around. You start from your hourly time frame or your 4-hour time frame, do your analysis. All right, let's, for example, say we would have looked at NQ, daily time frame. Our call right now is that we are going to continue higher to take out these highs and to retrace into, hang on, the daily bearish fair value gap, right up in here. That's our anticipation. We can see, okay, we already saw some signs of bullish order flow, inversion fair value gap, bullish fair value gap being respected. Yesterday was bullish, already had a down closing candle. So how could we potentially deliver higher from here? Well, we know that down closing candles are used as support if we're in an uptrend. Vice versa, if we're in a downtrend. Then we take a look at the 4-hour time frame. We could draw support and resistance, could look at volume profiles, whatever. The interesting part is then to bring it down from the higher time frames to your lower time frames and see if any kind of setup presents itself once we hit that daily down closing candle. And right here, we've hit it. And immediately, what did we get on the lower time frame? Massive bullish engulfing. At what time? 9:30, New York opening? Then this stuff starts to make more sense. But the most important thing is you start from the higher time frame, move to the lower time frame to look for your entry and not the other way around. Sorry. Let's see where we're at. AFK. This essentially would have been our 5-minute time frame breaker block. Up closing candle. If we were just to use the bodies. Market structure shift, close above, come back to retest. Of course, in hindsight, it's always so super easy. We use that information on NQ to scalp along here on ES. Let's see what we're working with. It could be the case that we're starting to shift. High at 1017. Little bits of bearish SMT divergence here. We still haven't cleared this high. At the 50% level of the 4-hour bearish fair value gap, never actually closed above that, reached previous day's high. Not much structure that we could be using yet. What's the time? It's 10:25. In a couple of seconds we get the 10:30 candle. Usually we like to turn around at around this time. Yeah, 1 minute minor SMT right at those highs. We just talked about it. Pretty sure at least that those two highs. But no proper inversion fair value gap blah 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 to actually use it with. And we're selling off. Right on schedule. I didn't see an entry. If we would have seen a volume imbalance, maybe I would have taken that. Was looking forward to see a retracement into one of those fair value gaps. Then even had our inversion fair value gap right here. Never came back to revisit that, at least here on ES. Not sure about NQ. Yeah, same story for NQ. We have equal low sell side right here. Five-minute time frame, no fair value gap. Fair value gap just below the slow right here. 15-minute time frame, fair value gap also below the slow. Question is, how would we get into this? We don't have a fair value gap on the 1 minute time frame, nothing on the 30 seconds time frame until we get back into this area. Interesting. Let's see. Bearish fair value gap. 5-point stop loss. And another bearish fair value gap just above. Three, two, one. Yeah, don't like that. Bullish volume imbalance right now. This is more of a continuation higher, if you ask me. Immediately disrespected our entry fair value gap. Filled in this highest fair value gap. Open with a bullish volume imbalance right off the high. Doesn't look to me like we are going to continue lower, at least right now. Take a look at NQ. Well, NQ is still respecting the fair value gaps. Let's see. Maybe we can take a re-entry if we were to close back below. So this would be an inversion fair value gap already. A little bit of 1 minute time frame scalping. Get rid of these arrows for now. Retest of the inversion fair value gap. Closed in the volume imbalance, open with a new bullish volume imbalance. Still didn't invalidate this bearish fair value gap. Nothing on the 5 minute time frame. Let's see if we get the close above this bearish fair value gap, then we could really see the continuation up higher. We left behind a new bullish fair value gap just below. If we get back below this bullish fair value gap, then VWAP is going to be the next target. Also, if we manage to close above this bearish, I think we're going to push up higher into our current high of the day. Damn, likely not quick enough. Let's see if we get the retest of this new inversion fair value gap. We got the retest, not filled unfortunately. Jump in with a market order, screw it. No, we're filled with both, damn. Let's see. Stop, take profit target. So 1. Protect 1 contract at break even. We took our entry right here. Nice volume imbalance. Let's see if that can take us higher. Take a look at NQ. NQ also invalidated all these fair value gaps. So let's see, 5133.75, 51. How many points? Go for a 2.5 point stop loss. Down here, this bullish fair value gap. Shouldn't really have much interest in getting back below this inversion fair value gap. If we do, I don't know, that would change things up a little bit. We'll see. Gonna let one run. The other one I'm gonna, take the loss on it. Kind of doesn't make sense. Let's see if we hold support on the bullish fair value gap or not. Turn out a little bit more difficult to manage due to the too many contracts, but let's see how we can play that. Let's see if the inversion fair value gap holds first. If it holds. If it doesn't hold, I'm going to close 1. Because this was our main entry fair value gap. 1. Okay, we closed right at the low, followed by a bullish volume imbalance. Take a look at NQ. NQ also, once again, backing off that consequent encouragement of the 4-hour fair value gap. That volume imbalance has been filled in. This could turn out to be some sort of a head and shoulder if we fail to hold here. So first we push up into those new highs, we distribute, continue lower, pull back, and then push into all these lows down here. That's a bearish case. $13.9. 5-minute time frame, no fair value gaps whatsoever. 1-minute time frame, inversion fair value gap to inversion fair value gaps actually. So I really had high conviction that we're gonna use this to continue higher and take out at least this high. Let's see. First close below my inversion fair value gap entry is gonna mean that I'm going to close one of those two contracts long right now, and the other contract is going to be closed once we get the confirmation close below this bullish fair value gap, because that would really confirm this head and shoulder distribution, at least short-term high on the higher time frame setup, or at least a retracement to the VWAP and these two equal lows. $10.40, new 5-minute candle, open up with a bullish gap. 15-minute time frame. Well, we have this 15-minute bullish fair value gap below. Doesn't mean we have to retrace into it. So far, we never disrespected the inversion fair value gap, so I'm still in with both. That might change. No, let's see. Check the 30s. Not really helpful. But that head and shoulder setup sort of is a little bit more obvious here. Left shoulder, dip, we push back up, distribute. We'll see. As a safety stop loss in case we get a fuck you candle saying, no, we're gonna dump now. From our entry, if we were to look for quick 5 points, 4.5, 5 points, 5138.75, 5138.75. First entry we took right on this inversion fair value gap. So 5 points is actually the high. Let's leave it there then. We close back above the inversion fair value gap, but right now we see that we're not really going anywhere. Let's see, we have a bunch of equal lows sitting here. We just cleared them. Let's see if that's enough. And if we still respect our highest inversion fair value gap, or if we fail to hold now. Take a look at NQ. NQ already cleared the high, so that's really interesting. NQ took out the high one more time. Yes, it's still failing to do so. So this, at the moment at least, is bearish SMT divergence. Just keep that in mind. We swept the lows here, and we had a nice rejection. Quick sweep. Now we just need to see continuation higher. because like I said, right now, that's SMT at the high of the day. I'm going to close one here, because like I said, we closed below our main inversion fair value gap, 53.25 to 8, like this. Last level of defense for this inversion fair value gap long setup. Kind of already hang on, let's see, 21 seconds to go. What's the time? It's 10:44, 15-minute time frame, new 15-minute candle, a couple of minutes, couple of seconds actually. So that's a new 15-minute candle. Yeah, ES is not having it right now. We'll see. We'll see. Also no clean setup here on NQ in terms of the 1-minute time frame with the SMT divergence right here. No fair value gaps to use to frame our bias. Market structure shift would happen once we go below the slow, unless you go to the 30 seconds time frame. Well, that's what I like to do. Let's see. Last level of defense for the long that we still have going on ES would be once we close below this bullish fair value gap. Now we filled it in completely. Close below the 50%. Why playing so much? 5-minute time frame, nothing on here really. Looks more bearish than bullish. Just from a gut feeling point of view. We have those two equal lows and the VWAP. Like I said, once we close below this bullish, that should really be the signal that we are going to continue lower. Let's see if we can recover out of this area, or if we reject. If we see this entire move being flipped, so once we close back above this high and maybe leave behind a bullish fair value gap, we could actually be looking for to add another contract long after seeing, okay, we held support on our lowest bullish fair value gap and we're pushing into new highs. But we just managed our risk wisely. We can't give away too much in a single trade, especially having entered up here on this inversion fair value gap. So it was the safe decision essentially to close one contract, even though we still know it has the potential to hold here. And so we didn't close the entire positions, we just closed 50%, or I did. Q continued lower, but never really hit any major sell side liquidity, even though we had that SMT divergence. All these lower highs seem like nice and juicy liquidity here. I'm going to drag my stop loss now below this low. How much did we actually end up losing on? It doesn't show me right here. That sucks. So we cleared this high. For my trendline friends. Let's take a look at NQ. NQ once again pushed above the high, so all the SMT divergence traders wrecked. We're still not done yet. It's 10:49, so we're within the 10:50 till 11 a.m. macro, the last 10 minutes of the live stream as well. Let's see if we can end the week nicely, or if I have to keep going for the next 4 hours. I'm kidding. No matter the outcome of this trade, that's the ultimatum for this week. Bullish fair value gap. Filled it in already. Let's see if it holds support. This might be the opportunity now. On NQ actually. Of the inversion fair value gap, but I would have to switch over to NQ real quick, see if I can be that quick. Oh, that's the 30-second time frame. Entry on the inversion, stop loss above the high. More and more SMT divergence. Go over to ES here. See what happened there. Yeah, well, our stop loss would have been hit. We left behind a bearish fair value gap. We filled that in. Now the only question is, when are we going to close below this bullish fair value gap? Or if we're just going to chop inside of here, but, well, I don't really care anymore. That's not the trade I looked forward to catch, if that makes sense. My trade idea was inversion fair value gap from buy side liquidity. Instead we got this, so doesn't matter. Let's see, we have this beautiful SMT divergence here on NQ. Double SMT actually. Let's see if it holds up. We have our highest inversion fair value gap. It doesn't have to, of course. You can see that ES at the same time is also just choppy. We set our range, we take out highs, we take out lows, we come back to take out the highs. Let's see if we close again on NQ. Above this inversion fair value gap, that would be my exit. And that's also going to be it for the day. 30 seconds to go, otherwise I'm going to take the loss. Damn. But I mean, come on, seriously? What price action is this? And now it's likely gonna run out all these highs. I know it. What a joke. 1050. Boom. I mean, seriously. Come on. Draw on liquidity. Let's go. Ah, damn. I just wanted to put in one more contract. Let's see. What messy price action. Bullish fair value gap, inversion fair value gap. Where am I at actually on this account? 475. All right. 1%. We had the right feeling ever since this inversion fair value gap right here. Looked for a quick delivery into the buy side liquidity. Instead, what we've got, well, essentially from our entry, 20 minutes so far of choppy price action. Little bits of seek and destroy here even. High, low, higher, high, lower, low, and then continuing up higher. Stop loss 33.6. Put it below here. That's gonna be final. One tick below this wick low would have been fine. Interesting. Let's go back to NQ and see what that. No, pushed up higher. Let's actually take a clear look at this. Bullish fair value gap. If we're gonna do it for the last time, well, it's already gonna be the last trade. This time, really. Don't want to get caught up in this shit. But we have it sweep, 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 sweep. Lowest bullish fair value cap kept on holding. But I think after this move to the upside, immediately disrespecting both of the bullish fair value gaps left behind, sweeping the low, of course. Hindsight, stop hunt, very obvious, but in the moment, I think it's just safer to drag your stop loss to this low. All right, so from here on, bullish fair value gap. No inefficiencies, nothing up here really. Yeah, looks like chop at the high of the days. Doesn't just look like it. It actually is. Bullish fair value gap holding up. Typical for price action right now inside of this choppy environment would be the move back below here, immediately invalidating the 2 bullish fair value gaps we just left behind. If we do so, well, that's just going to be, yeah, that's 10:58. We get a new hourly candle soon. I would anticipate the new hourly candle to just quickly spike into the new high of day. Well, we still have the SMT divergence. Hourly candle close looking strong as of right now. We have 59 seconds left. We're inside a hourly bearish fair value gap right here. Well, our hourly buy side liquidity is up in here. Let's see, 1 minute time frame. But going sideways at the high of the day is never a good sign for the continuation setup. So let's see, that's going to be the moment of truth. Put the stop loss 1 tick below lowest fair value gap candles low. Glad I didn't touch my funding pips account. Close. All right, new hourly opening. Let's see if we can run into buy side. High of day. 36. A 5 minute time frame. Still no fair value gap on the 5 minute. Ever since this bullish fair value gap right here. Possible double bottom formation. Okay, we cleared the next high. But sell pressure seems to be pretty high. NQ. Even more SMT divergence if we look at it. Between all these highs essentially. Because all these higher highs, they don't correlate with any higher highs on ES. So essentially what NQ has been doing ever since here is put in new higher highs ever since. Let's see if we have some proper buy side anywhere on a higher time frame. Not really. We are still essentially in the middle of nowhere. Previous week's low at 51.50, but that's about it. So as long as we're done chopping now, we could see high of the day being cleared. Right here at 5140.25. Still holding both inefficiencies. Seek and destroy part could have been over, could be over and done with now. Boom, and target hit. At least something. So let's, I don't even want to open up the executions. I think the 1 minute time frame got me a little bit. Let's see, it's been a while since actually executing on TradingView. All right, we entered short. No, let me see. We entered short based on this bearish fair value gap. Then we immediately got the invalidation, so we closed it right away, paired with the volume imbalance. Then after we seen the confirmation close above the second bearish fair value gap here, we entered long with a market order and long with a limit order right on this fair value gap. Anticipating essentially the move that we've seen right here, straight continuation into orders buy side, but the time wasn't ready. Apparently we had to wait until the new hourly opening, which just happened, 10:11 a.m. We pushed up. So we instead chopped around, initially respecting the inversion fair value gap here perfectly until we closed below. It's when we closed another position, and then we decided to close the second long of here if we manage to close below this bullish fair value gap. We filled it in completely went back up, leaving behind 2 new bullish fair value gaps. At this point, I decided to move my stop below this low just to protect my capital. And now we're actually rallying. It's always nice to see when you just secured profits, but that's where being content with enough is important. We swept the low one more time instead of, respecting those 2 bullish fair value gaps. We closed below both of them for a final time, and then we closed the position manually here, saving a couple of ticks before we would have gotten stopped out. And then it turned around. Then for a final time, we tried to catch along of the bullish fair value gaps. That's the recap. Not too bad, but way messier than this flawless execution right here at the low. Anyway, are there any questions left for today? Bongo Rambo is possibly looking for the shorts now, correct? Since we hit the buy side liquidity. Not yet, okay. Not the day to short, or at least not the New York session to take shorts. I think that's pretty obvious. Oh, you still have your tag. More charts that you see this gap right over there. I don't have that gap. Is that regular trading hours? No, there's no regular trading gap. New hour opened up, we continued higher, 5-minute time frame, then close above buy side on a 5-minute. Well, anyway, what's the time? It's 11:05. That's gonna be it for me, guys. Unless there are any more questions, well, I'm gonna leave it at that and wrap up the week. Let's see where we're at. 49.66. I'm tempted to try the inversion fair value gap if we get it. After running out buy side, we left behind two back-to-back bullish fair value gaps. Do we have anything on the 5-minute time frame? No, we do not. We close below, but right, open up right back at the low with a volume imbalance. Interesting. We'll see how that plays out. Close below, but opening back at the low with a volume imbalance is usually a gray area for me where I decide not to enter. But there was a little bit of a lag. Essentially treating this like my paper trading account, just experimenting. We'll see how that goes. Stop loss is going to be right up here. Now we actually close below and open below. So now we have that inversion fair value gap confirmation. We have the bearish fair value gap right here. See how precise we can be on the 1-minute time frame. NQ is still holding up nicely. We don't see any sign of weakness on NQ. Only see that on ES. 5 points at 37.5, 32.5 would be down here. Now I'm going full pull or nothing, midnight level, or VWAP. Alright, I'm just gonna let this trade go, leave this trade going on. So yeah, you guys know where the stop loss is. And yeah, we will be back next week. So thanks very much, guys, for joining in this week. I hope you've learned something. What to do or what not to do. So yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. Yeah, enjoy the time off screen. And we're gonna be back next week like always. So take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. You too, Kieran. Tim, ich bin jetzt ready.
Ja, ich nicht mehr. Bei
Du-
mir ist jetzt vorbei.
Oh.
Ich wollte doch nicht weiter. Ich habe mit deiner Mama unten geschwätzt, 2, 3 Minuten.
Ja.
Ja, mal hoch, du guckst echt. Ja, ich kann mir vorstellen, dass du arbeitest. Aber ich guck mal.
Ja, alles gut, kein Stress.
Ja. Nee,